John parked the 4x4 on a raised piece of concrete, the base for a long-gone agricultural building. They exited the car and walked hand in hand towards the new stock fence that enclosed the nearest field. In front of them, rolling green pasture land stretched out to a distant tree line. Wendy raised her hand to shield her eyes from the sun and thought to herself, "This is it. It's perfect." They were joined by the landowner's wife, who grinned at them, knowing full well the look in their eyes. Taking a deep breath, Wendy asked, "How much did you say you wanted for the 3 fields?" She was trying to hide the excitement in her voice and was failing miserably. 70,000, Mary told her with a broad smile. She knew that look and could empathise with the young woman's excitement. Mary knew what it was like to work the land and to fulfil your dreams, and was pleased that these fields would be used, albeit in a different way. The farm itself was being sold off in separate lots. So, Wendy turned around and looked across the road to the other fields that were also available. "Are these for sale as well?" "Yes, but if you want my advice," Mary grinned, "these are the best. You have a water supply and the electric transformers in the bottom field." Mary winked and Wendy knew she was hinting there would be no cost for amenities to be put in. "Okay then, it's a deal." Wendy turned and shook Mary's hand, both knowing this gesture sealed the transaction better than any solicitor's paperwork. Mary grinned back. She liked Wendy's style. The girl had integrity. "We'll get the paperwork sorted and the money's transferred. I'll go home and break the news to the family." Wendy was excited. This was it. They were on their way to fulfilling their dreams. Wendy and John Hall had been hunting for their own piece of land for some time. Being experienced horse riders, they dreamed of running their own equestrian business and training facilities. Wendy had always loved horses. People would be amazed at her instinctive gift with the equines she met. "She's a natural," they would say, "got horses in her blood." Finally, with the help from their parents and the sale of their own house, they could now see all their efforts starting to pay off. Driving back from viewing the fields, they put a disc in the CD player which began to blast out AC/DC, expressing better than words their excitement. This was it, the first step on the commitment they had made the year before. The car wheels crunched on the gravel driveway of her parents' house before coming to a halt. Taking a deep breath, then opening the car door, Wendy stood straight and looked at the small group in front of her. Mum and Dad were watching her with bated breath. 1 year ago, Wendy and John had stood in this very driveway with 2 suitcases of clothes and a couple of boxes of pictures and ornaments. Mary and Arthur, Wendy's parents, had kindly given up their spare room for the couple as they hunted for land to build their dream on, but it was tough going in the small house. They were constantly under each other's feet, and an almost scripted politeness and conversation permeated between them as each tried not to show their frustration at the lack of privacy. "Well?" Wendy's mother asked. "It's ours," beamed Wendy as she nodded to John, who wore a mixed look of relief and apprehension as the dream became reality. "I've given a verbal confirmation, so we need to get the paperwork sorted." Mary and Arthur nodded quickly and hurried inside, intent on calling solicitors to get the ball rolling. The year of living with her parents had not been wasted for Wendy and John. They had carefully budgeted exactly where their frugal monies could be spent and had researched exactly what they needed. They called the company specialising in stable construction, which had already been commissioned for the first 8 stables. A tractor had been purchased ready for delivery, an ancient 1974 model still going strong and gutsy, and an even older static caravan with 60s decor, single pane windows, but a working boiler and watertight roof was also poised ready to be placed in its last home. They had some money to spare, not much, but enough to see them through the first year, if necessary, till the business could be established. John had found a part-time job with a gardening company to bring in some extra cash. That night in her dreams, Wendy walked across the moonlit field towards the woodland. Although the ground was heavy with dew, she wasn't cold. A warm breath tickled the hair on the back of her neck, and she smiled. "Hello, my sweet." Wendy did not speak these words aloud, and as she spoke there was a warm glow in her heart. A spectral horse appeared and walked at her side. The horse spoke to her, not in words, but in thoughts. "Hello, my dear." Its words reverberated in her head, stirring memories from the past that brought a smile to her face. She turned to the horse, who regarded her with large shining eyes, full of youth and vitality. Wendy's hand reached out for the mare as they entered the ancient oak circle, 7 towering trees interspersed with hawthorn and rowan. "We're home." She could feel the power in her friend's words, looking back across the field to a darkening sky. The horse's gaze bored deep into her soul. "It stirs. It feels your power." Wendy gazed at the mare, confused. "What stirs?" she asked. A knot of anxiety tightened deep in her core. The great horse spirit spoke again. "You must face a challenge, my dearest." Wendy buried her head into the horse's chest. "This is the last time I'll see you, isn't it?" Her words were but a whisper, echoing between them as the mare spoke. "In this world, yes. There will be another to guide you, and after that another, one a mirror of you." "I love you, my sweet," Wendy said. "And I you," the mare replied, as slowly her form disappeared till it was only a fine mist that lay on the bluebells. Wendy stood alone for a while and wondered why she was not awake. A strange rumbling grew around her. At first she couldn't quite understand the source. It was strangely comforting. Looking around, Wendy's eyes fell on a large oak standing slightly apart from the others. As she stared, the tremor vibrated through her, and she knew it was the spirit of the oak speaking to her. She smiled and bowed to the ancient guardian, then raised her head. There was a pinkish glow as Wendy woke and felt the new day's sun's warmth on her face as she opened her eyes. Lying quietly for a while, she pondered on her dream. The mare had come back to give her a message, and she knew better than to ignore it. Her new horse had been sent to help her with the gift, a power that had to be channeled with discipline and control. Her grandmother had had the same ability, but dismissed and kept it hidden for many years. Wendy was different. She embraced her spirit teachers, knowing that when the time was right, they would make themselves known.